Let's go. It's going to be a great game.
Yeah, the resiliency is definitely something to be admired. But as is skill ratios, this is a team that, can take a loss, but just adapt super quickly and just turn all that pressure so quickly back around, just as we watched them do against Waka, who was another super strong team in this entire bracket. So yeah, this is going to be a really exciting game as we get closer to these gates dropping.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the strategy is coming out from these teams. I know a couple teams have decided to open up with their flag carrier in mid. If they're Tauren, they'll get the stomp out. Of course, the team that does have the rogue, Bigmoran, on skill ratio, they could utilize him in the opener as well. Though it is a little bit difficult to capitalize on that, considering there are just so many heals. And if the Mistweaver is able to get those hots rolling before the opening does come from those guys, they could waste a lot of resources and commit rather a lot to that midfield. We'll see if they decide to go for more of that standard D. Of course, Grizzle, known to be a monster on that D Hunter. He has killed a number of FCs solo in this tournament. It's going to be good. Skill ratio coming out strong. We'll see who's got the first advantage in this mid fight.
Yeah, and as Bigmoran gets into mid looking for a sap, I don't believe he's going to be able to get it. And Staticquo, the FC on the GSC side, making his way across, not going to be contested in stealth at the moment. Srgntpizza taking a ton of damage, having to leap back, not being able to stay up there on the front line, shooting out the damage as he usually does, shooting out a couple surges into the front line to turn that pressure around. But the team of GSC taking so much damage in their front line, the Warrior going down. Will they be able to hold this?
Good job from skill ratio. And, even though they had a little bit of a missed opener there, Bigmoran opened as Pizza did back out of that fight. They still are able to take a kill just by the straight amount of damage they were able to put out with that lock. That was something I definitely want to pay attention to. However, the fight is not over yet. They are committing a lot towards that team. Want to get that containment strat on. The flag was dropped by Staticquo. Interesting decision by him. Most likely just going to chill and wait till his team gets a little bit more ground here so he can have a safe return. Grizzle does get the first flag return of the game, and if we look at Darkchewie, he's crossing the mid uncontested. Skill ratio making this look easy. We'll see what happens with Staticquo here. This isn't going to be easy. Grizzle just holding defense down as he always does. This could be a first cap for SR if there's not some sort of interesting play coming out of GSC.
Yeah, they're about to put Staticquo into a really, really difficult situation right now. Both Bigmoran as well as Grizzle are kind of hovering around the base. Grizzle actually opening onto Staticquo in the flag room. Staticquo displacing out into the tunnel. He's getting chased by Darkchewie, dropping down to half health. He still does have his cooldowns up, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Popping that AGM to get a little bit of damage across. The silence coming in, the Warstomp coming out. He's going to go down. This is going to be the first cap going over to skill ratio.
Yeah, and that's the sign of an FC who's feeling desperate to pick the flag there. He knew that his team was getting contained. He didn't really have an option to get out, and skill ratio just making it look easy. The way that you beat this GSC comp, from my understanding, is you just need to get some sort of traction in mid and be able to utilize the fact that they do not have a defense. And if you can do that, you should be able to get a cap. However, if we take a look right now at the midfield, SR not having the best time now. They're getting pushed in. Curly Rogüe is down, and the rest of them are being pushed towards that resto hut right by their graveyard. We'll see if they're able to stabilize. This could be a quick turnaround coming out from GSC here. And, that's what I was talking about with the FC picking. He potentially could have waited till he had a little bit more support from his team. Look at Prîêst going so deep here. Curly Rogüe jumping in, getting the CC down, slowing up that front line. So crucial for these fights. And a nice utilization of the LOS by skill ratio here. We'll see if they're able to get some sort of control back. Bigmoran heading to help Darkchewie pick that flag. A smart adaptation by them again.
Not entirely sure why Bigmoran is going to help Darkchewie to get this flag across. It doesn't look like anybody's really contesting Darkchewie at all right now, seeing as the two hunters are kind of locked into that graveyard fight at the moment. But a good decision by Moran to take that Berserker hut a little bit early just to make sure that nothing can be done onto his FC. The group of Staticquo and GSC kind of controlling that graveyard area. Staticquo being able to make it out of the tunnel uncontested, seeing as that rogue wasn't there to fight him. Unwaxed, however, the marksmanship hunter of GSC making his way back, seeing Darkchewie. So this is kind of coming into that decision where, that Moran made to stay with Chewie. Moran's going to hover around, make sure that nobody touches Darkchewie. And I think Chewie should be okay with this rogue support.
Yeah, he is cutting back. Both hunters are breaking off as well, and you know this is why it is good to have the rogue. Maybe they can score a kill on the rogue. He does open, pops a lot of damage into him. Don't think he'll be able to one-shot him, but at least takes the pressure off of Darkchewie. Maybe he will choose to commit now. I think he maybe could have made it, but with skill ratio being pushed that far back, it definitely was a risky play. And this is the sort of pressure and containment that I did expect to see coming out of GSC based on the previous games we've seen from them. They're just so aggressive with their ratios, able to lock up that backline and score kills onto the targets that count. Bigmoran actually died in that trade as well. So Darkchewie is definitely on the ropes. He's going to be crossing. He's got the help from Grizzle right here. So nice from Grizzle, just being able to support his flag carrier as they try to push across. Zeirenn actually did get across as well. That should be some support for him. This is definitely risky, though. If they aren't able to get a good displacer into the team, they're still down players. Srgntpizza looks like he gets topped off. No, he goes down. Darkchewie, I think he'll be okay here. He takes a very wide route, and he gets back to his team. And, you know, that's not easy to do against this team. I got to say, really, really good support from skill ratio, making sure they could get him by. They sacrificed a player or two, and Curly rolls you going down as well. Darkchewie, is he going for the break here? It looks like he might have to turn around. He's getting cut off. Yeah, he will turn around.
Yeah, really great job by skill ratio on handling that transition between Moran dying and getting Grizzle to there. But Darkchewie getting dropped. Oh no, he's going to drop that flag actually. Passing it up over to Srgntpizza is a good idea there. He didn't actually die, just pass it up. Srgntpizza doing a good job of just LOSing and making sure that no pressure is going into their flag carrier. So looks like they're going to wait to res up completely, get their team situated and stabilized before they make some sort of outward push once again.
And here's the smart plays you see coming out from GSC. Looks like they're going to all pull out of that GY here, at least largely. BM, the frontline Prîêst, doesn't feel the same way. Of course, that is their guild leader. He will back out with his team, and they just kind of want to get Srgntpizza out of that graveyard here. And, of course, SR are going to be a little bit weak without their Boomkin on the front line. That's a huge part of their composition. I got to give props to Pizza there, though. When they handed off that flag, he was in stealth, so it wasn't completely known that that was going to happen. It's a good way to adapt to the fact that so many people have been getting ninjas, you know, quite notably a couple monks getting some nice roll pass-offs. So Darkchewie does have the flag back in the graveyard, and Skill Ratio is going to start to push out here.
Yeah, and really good job by Grizzle of making sure that he's near his flag carrier at the moment. You know, at 6 stacks, it's obviously not the worst situation that could happen right now, but you know, you always want to be a little bit cautious. But as these two hunters are sitting in mid on the opposing side, Grizzle's going to push away from his flag carrier. Darkchewie going to drop down as well to kind of rejoin his team as this entire group of GSC backs up into their base. I'm curious as to why they did this. I mean, I know they have one healer down, but was it entirely necessary when they had that team contained so well?
I understand the idea of wanting to put themselves in a more advantageous position simply because they did have the GY stuck in the FCs. And they had the FC stuck in the GY. Bigmoran looking for the sap out, isn't going to find it. That would be crucial. The only real stealth on this team, of course, is the Boomkin, and SR gets baited hard by the plays by GSC. They faked going up into the gauntlet, and SR did not want to let that happen. And they were successfully able to bring them back in the mid, which is an even fight. Oh my goodness, look at the aggression coming in from GSC. This is the strength they have in their team comp. Look, the Hunter disengaging in to get the silence. Maineac and Yøuredead got hit there. Prîêst just putting in so much damage. Of course, that is their arms warrior. Zeirenn getting trained by Unwaxed as well. So much spread damage from this team here. Of course, they've got the dots coming out from the Prîêst as well. He likes to put out a lot of damage. And, you know, once again, these guys are taking a lot of control of this midfield. Darkchewie heading up the tunnel, going to be getting safely to his team in the GY, it does seem like. But I don't know if skill ratio is really going to ever be able to push out of there. The only advantage they have is that they've got that rogue, and that means they do have, hypothetically, a better kill setup on to the FC. However, at the same time, you got to realize there are 2 lusts on the side of Gurubashi Surf Club, which means you pop those.
Yeah, but one thing to really watch out for here, I got to cut you off, but Unwaxed, the marksmanship hunter, actually cutting off Darkchewie, going up that ramp. Darkchewie having to displace her into the team, trying to get there to his healers. KO, who just res, doing a fantastic charge to the bear pet, and then getting his a little bit of damage onto Unwaxed just to make sure that he peels his FC. So fantastic play and really, really lucky res timer by the team of skill ratio. Darkchewie really kind of just having to push forward by that solo push from Unwaxed. So good call by both.
Such a nice play from Gurubashi Scurf Club there. That is something that I actually brought up to my team not like 2 games ago, where I said, if this ever happens, it could be really bad. You know, we always see the FCs being able to cut off, go up into their base, no problem. Nobody ever really contests them, except you see Unwaxed the Hunter from GSC completely catching that rotation way ahead of time and is able to burn a lot of cooldowns from Darkchewie. Oh my god, we just saw a 5-point blink combo into the GY off of a Star Surge, and that is a great kill coming out from Gurubashi Surf Club here. They are getting quite a few of their members taken down. SR just going absolutely ham. They have nothing to defend anymore. They're just going to train in the Staticquo. He's got 12 stacks here. He's taking a lot of damage. He does displacer out. He's got his Hunters there as well. Hopefully they can peel somewhat, but of course that Druid's moving so slow. However, this is one of the problems with having a Warlock. You don't really have any sort of mobility, and this looks like it's going to be the tie game here coming out from Gurubashi Surf Club.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like Zeirenn was able to get across the map just fast enough. The 200's doing a great job of just kind of shutting him down completely. The group of Staticquo kind of escorting him completely. So Bigmoran, while he's going to get that speed boost, and I'm assuming he might go for that cheeky flag pickup just to get to his team. That might be exactly what he's trying to do right now as Zeirenn is making his way up the ramp. Yeah, so it looks like Bigmoran is going to try to meet Zeirenn right now and try to get that flag pass off. But I don't know if it's going to be successful as he's going to go down despite that evasion being popped. And I believe that that's going to be a clean cap for the team of GSC.
Yep, Zeirenn was getting pressured very hard by Boomie, the Hunter. A great play by GSC, once again, just to cut off any sort of retaliation play by skill ratio. Zeirenn is left alone and probably will pick up the flag and try and meet up with his team, as they have gotten control in mid, of course, off of that FC push. Srgntpizza having a duel out here, going up against Boomkin versus Boomkin. And, you know, I got to say, pretty much, basically this game has, in a lot of ways, been in GSC's control, except for that one mistake they had at the start of the game where they maybe under-healed their warrior and he was able to be taken down by a lucky Chaos Bolt. They do go very deep with that warrior and that BM, so understandable. And, you know, they adapted very well to being down, which is something they most likely don't deal with very often, and they are able to secure control over midfield again. Staticquo just pummeling himself, or sorry, not pummeling, Jesus, I said barreling is what I meant to say, around that corner at ramp, burning his displacer, doesn't care, just trying to make as much time as he can. And that's simply because the control of skill ratio for that defense is not there. Grizzle is there, but they knew that the rogue was dead, of course, because he had been caught out at the flag room. Holy shoot, though. Staticquo taking a lot of damage. Will he be able to be met by his team? Looks like the advantage is coming out from the Mage. Great play by him, and they should be able to keep Staticquo up, but definitely a risky play, as Pizza did transition nicely into the tunnel and potentially could have gotten a bite off and gotten a kill there.
Yeah, the entire team of GSE kind of absolutely controlling that tunnel area. So despite the fact that both Grizzle and Moran were kind of on defense, with Moran kind of centered around that ramp side, you know, Staticquo not going to have too much trouble getting away from Pizza and Grizzle. So now we're kind of locked into the stalemate again, where the team of skill ratio needs to do something within the next 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Moran kind of hovering around with the Berserker buff, which is actually just going to fall off right now. So unless he gets another one, he's not going to have that extra damage. Grizzle kind of focusing on the mid fight, not really focusing on trying to break off or anything like that. The stacks are really low right now. I think they're going to really just push it down to the wire and make some kind of, you know, offensive initiative towards the end. But the team of Gurubashi taking some damage in their front line, the BM going down here. So this might be skill ratio's time to really just go hard and turn this entire game around.
Yeah, but without those stacks, that means Staticquo is going to have the ability to go in travel form and just hightail it on out of there. And with Bigmoran being out of stealth, he knows that he doesn't have to worry about staying in combat. He doesn't need a hunter with him. He'll just be able to back on up and have support from the rest of the team as they do res at the graveyard. And unfortunately, Grizzle's not in a position to make the same sort of play we saw come out earlier from the Hunter of Gurubashi Surf Club. Skill ratio, they've got 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Are they going to be able to find the kill here? The stacks are so low that I'm worried they won't, considering that, you know, their opportunity would have been when they started pushing through this mid here. And of course, they've got BM, their Prîêst, hanging out with Staticquo here. So honestly, 2 hunters shouldn't even really be able to take him, as long as he has cooldowns, even through a couple blanket silences or any sort of, you know, I'm going to say it, the Twitch chat's going to hate it, but any sort of cheeky play wouldn't really put them in a position to win here. It's going to be really tough and really incredible if skill ratio is able to make something happen.
Yeah, and look at this now. Grizzle up there with the Zerker buff, waiting for Srgntpizza actually coming up behind him. So it looks like they are going to go in for a push right now onto the EFC. Bigmoran actually dropping down into the graveyard, looking for that sap so that they can disengage in and just kind of start pulling damage in. But yeah, definitely. But the healers are kind of completely aware. I think the hunters from the GSC side have kind of tracked the opposing team really well. So Staticquo having to drop down into the healing hut. I'm not sure if Moran's gonna be able to do something. He's so close to getting caught out. The swipes just coming through.
Coming out of the FD. Here we go. He's taking a lot of damage. Stomps. The Penance is coming out, trying to keep him up. The Mistweaver keeping him up well. The single target damage is just equated so easily by those heals. Will he be able to stay up? Oh my goodness, the stacks are so low. Only 6 stacks, and no, he will not go down. A valiant push coming out from skill ratio there, but just not quite enough.
What a fast-paced game.